Happening, lads and lassies, and welcome back to another video. Today, if you can't tell what we're covering, is very, very, very in your face today. Also, we have a cameo guest.
The one, the only, MMA King Kreese Jr., whose face is not shrunk on the poster. Oh, wait, sorry, I think you're talking about me. Right, so yes, that's me. Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm here.
Happening, lads and lassies. So, we've got a very special video today because we have the chosen one with us, and we're talking about a very, very special topic to all of us, and that is Star Wars, or Star Wars: A New Hope for all you young ones. Anyway, but anyway, yes, we're going to get into it. So we're going to be talking about does it hold up, what's good about the movie, what's bad about the movie, if there is any negatives, and we'll get to also hear Danny's opinion on Chinese posters. Anyway, moving on. Let's keep going, and let's kick it off. Jacob, on you go, bud.
Established before, nothing shrunk on this poster or anything like that to fit marketing. So, the better days of Star Wars instantly. And I also just want to, again, give a massive shout out to the fans that are like, no, it needs to have an X-Wing in it. That's what makes it good, is X-Wings. We need X-Wings. If it doesn't have an X-Wing, then it sucks and it's trash and it's awful and I don't like it and it ruins my childhood. If it doesn't have an X-Wing in it, then it's awful, apparently. So this movie will be an instant 10 out of 10 before anyone's even watched it because there's an X-Wing on the poster. But the minute someone shrunk on the poster, no one cares. It says volumes when people value a ship more than you know what I'm saying? Priorities, people. This movie, however, aside from a movie trying to copy it 30 years later on and the 21st century overlay, I really still enjoy it. Is it exciting? No. Is it entertaining compared to the others? No. But I think when you're looking for the true intent of Star Wars, you're looking for that true spirit. Look no further. Like, everything is in this movie: the wonder, the magic, the story, the characters, the journey, the tale. It's all here. And it has the most badass entrance of anyone ever, where Mr. Vader walks in, there's like bodies on the floor, his soldiers are on side, doesn't have to say anything, just looks right, left, walks past the camera, boom, done. Han Solo is a complex, nuanced character. He's not just your typical, running and gunning, I'm shooting things up. He's like, I'm just here to get paid and go home. He has his whole little character arc that set the foundation for the reluctant hero, the anti-hero, if you will, that shows up coming in clutch at the end and sends Vader packing, and then is quite salty about that going to the next movie, I think. Luke is a character that I think we can all relate to and identify, and Princess Leia is a badass. Like, all the characters in here are great. Obi-Wan's the sage, the wise old character that gives you the wisdom before you go on your journey. And most of the Empire are one note, but that's fine. We're not here to root for them. We don't need to care for them. We don't like them. In terms of the negatives, I'd be fascinated to hear what you guys have to say, because I don't really have too many negatives. It's more so because knowing that this movie came out in 1977, which was a while ago, it was also a different world and a different time, contrary to what people think on social media nowadays. But the movie itself, I would say that unless you've grown up with having a real special connection to this one specifically, as opposed to some of the others, it can be kind of hard to trudge through. What do you guys have there?
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. For me, for example, when I think of New Hope, as much as I love it, like, it still always will have a place in my heart. And I remember always watching this on the TV with my mother when it came on all the time. Was that going back now is a little bit more boring. Like, it's because obviously it's just a traditional hero story, and when you first see it in Harry Potter or in Star Wars, it's like, oh wow, whoa! But now you're just like, it's a bit formulaic. It's moving a bit slowly, So it doesn't hold up well. I would say as much now. And I know a bunch of the wee little fanboys in the comments will be like, OG trilogy's the best. OG trilogy's the best. You're the motherfuckers that gave us the sequel trilogy, so shut the fuck up. So anyway, as well as that, one of my things that I do like about this movie is that Luke is actually somewhat cringy, but in a funny way. You know, he's like a crash converter. You know,
But I was
like that.
going to the Toshi station to pick up some power converters. Like, how is that line? Right, how do people overlook that line and go, "Oh, I don't like sand, that's awful." But how do you give that line a pass?
Yep.
The way he says it's like a whiny little child.
And Mark Hamill even called himself out on it as well.
Says, yeah, that was
So if
that was
the man
horrible,
himself calls him out.
man.
Yeah. Also, as well, it's one of those things. Is like, of course, it still holds up and aspects if you're a movie goer. If you like Star Wars and you love like the mythos and the lore, and you know, seeing Ben Kenobi for the first time, but he's actually really Obi-Wan Kenobi. Also, I've never, I don't think anybody's ever brought that up.
I don't know what canon reason they give that. If you're going into hiding and your name's Obi-Wan Kenobi, the most notable Jedi left in the galaxy out of all the Jedi that are still left by this point, which is not very many. I'm going to go into hiding. My name is now, look, it's like me doing this. So my name's Jacob Skywalker, right? This is my new name. Are we ready? I'm going into hiding. No one will know who I am.
Robbie Skywalker.
It's true. That's one of the other issues with it now with the prequels as well. Like George didn't think out of is like, my name's Ben Kenobi. Oh, okay, so that's very similar to this guy we're hunting. Also, this is before all the Inquisitor stuff and all the stuff with like, you know, the Obi-Wan show even gave us. So it's quite funny to just try to think like this is the version of Obi-Wan that left after Revenge of the Sith, and all of a sudden he's a cranky old man that doesn't want to, like, he's hesitant to be around Luke and stuff, and it's like, what the hell, you know? And then, you know, he's like, this is your father's lightsaber, and you know,
still mad that we should have got the rematch of the century, but that's all
we don't talk about that.
Yeah, as well as that, right? As well as that, one of the other things that always stuck out in my head about this movie is the simple fact is the Mr. Palpatine got his look changed about 60 times through special editions, and eventually got turned into Ian McDermott.
The 97 edition, that is horrible.
Oh, dude, you see the original version? It's funny. It was a woman who was originally the Palpatine in the scene, and it was really bad prosthetic where it looked like a weird wobbly head of an ET character.
That was awful.
It was so terrible.
I will never. That one looked just awful.
To be fair, the one thing I don't like about the more up-to-date versions of this movie, especially, is the random added animals with CGI.
Right.
The blue lightsaber can't decide on what blew it.
I'm got to chime in again. So the Han shot first. Okay, we know this, right? Han shoots first. It's not because he's a bad guy. It's because the guy's about to freaking blast him. Like, it's like, no, George, I need to chat to you. You don't need to add a thing of where Han awkwardly jolts his head to the side while Greedo shoots this way to make it seem like Han had no choice. And then even later on, like 10 years later, you had a scene where Greedo goes, McClunky. Like, adding all this unnecessary stuff. There's a rock in front of R2-D2, Jabba the Hutt, and that whole CGI thing. Like, obviously, we know Jabba the Hutt now is not meant to be some angry Scottish geezer. You know, again, giving us poor representation as usual.
Wait, he's supposed to be Scottish?
Yeah, he was a Scottish guy.
Really?
He was a Scottish guy. Like in the original version, he was a when Han Solo's like getting ready in the Falcon, and then Jabba's like, "Solo, come out of there, Solo." It's like a Scottish guy with like some puffy coat, and then a couple of years later, George was like, you know, didn't have the budget for what I wanted to do, and you know, I wanted to really sort of, you know, and then made him a big CGI slug.
What we saw in Phantom Menace.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, is that Jabba the Hutt? Yeah, it's Jabba the Hutt. But the one in the 2000 special edition, on the 97 one, that looked like dog water. That looked awful. That looked awful as hell.
Yeah.
And George adding in all these little additions, like a Jawa flying off of an animal or something, completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. And I get that it's technological limitation at the time. And that's really what this movie suffers from, especially with where the brand's at now. Is just stuff like that. The space scenes are much better now, but it's I will say this,
as far as like the as far as the world, it's like.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. There's like fucking 4 or 5 different variations of these 3 movies now, and there's like 2 or 3 versions of the prequels now as well with special editions. It's like, make up your fucking mind, man. Like I'm gonna put this out there, but whilst we're talking about this, right? Bring back the Yoda puppet that looked like a crackhead. That was funny to me. I liked that. It looked quite funny.
They could have left that alone.
See,
Because
I don't know if like
him
with the.
Oh, that's it.
I
That's
got
the one I'm on about.
Yeah, this is what I was saying. Like, I don't know if
Not
this.
that box.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the one where it comes with the pictures in it of like Darth Maul and then Anakin.
Of course.
Yeah.
Since we're showing DVDs and stuff, the way I've watched Star Wars was I watched episode 1 and I watched episode 2, and this was before episode 3 had come out in the cinema. So I was quite depressed as a kid. I was like, oh, I'm gonna see my hero fall to the dark side and blah blah blah. Like, I was watching A New Hope, right? And someone in the house.
Oh man, you got the classic one.
Like, someone in the house.
I have the gold one somewhere in the house.
Like we were watching through it. Someone said, while we were watching it, Vader walks in the Tantive 4, and then they go, "Oh, that's Anakin, by the way." And I'm like, not only have you spoiled me the reveal of the next movie, you've just gone and told me that my childhood hero goes to the dark side. I'm gonna be depressed as heck after this trilogy. Like,
dang.
And then it was a whole thing. But in this lovely box set, you get your lovely little New Hope, you get your lovely little Empire Strikes Back, you get your Return of the Jedi, and you get your bonus material.
We got bonus material in here too. The last 2.
Not gonna lie though.
Live on this.
Those you see the cases for the DVDs Jacob's got. They are my favorite art that they ever used, and they keep fucking replacing them. Stop it, Disney! Stop it!
One.
Yeah.
They
really want to get.
A New Hope has my favorite part.
It's one of those things. It's one of those things that they really trying to get rid of his legacy, bro. Like they want to eradicate.
If it ain't broke, don't fucking fix it, and that's what you keep doing. I've seen about 60 different versions of this.
Don't fix it.
I've seen like 60 different versions of the same cover, or like a different variation of the cover. At 6 different fucking special editions. A New Hope is a great movie for what it is, right? And all of the OTs, right? But what the fundamental thing when it comes to New Hope, right? Stop adding shit. Stop it.
Yeah, just leave it alone.
You're taking away. You're literally taking away from the story. Every time you go back and rewatch it, like one scene from the old DVD, and then you put it on the Blu-ray, and you're like, okay, I like the quality of the Blu-ray, but dang, where did this scene come from? Like, what's going on here? Like,
another thing as well that might be a bit more controversial, like for me, like when it comes to these versions of the movies, right? For me, right, I obviously I'll do like the more nice up-to-date versions, right? But I do not like the fact, right, that in Rogue One, one of the best scenes in Rogue One was the post-credit scene with Darth Vader chopping everybody up. But it makes no canonical sense with the way he fights in A New Hope now. Because in that scene alone, he was Darth Anakin. He was going all in. But then
literally
the next
10
movie
minutes
straight
later
after that,
he's just like, when I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
I'm the master.
Yep. So it makes no canonical sense now because you see him going ham like the minute before he gets to that port. And the minute he gets to that port, he turns into an old man that can't fight with a lightsaber anymore.
SC-38 for their recreation of that scene. And I think this is one of them ones I'll forgive because they just, with the technological things, like I have a choice but to forgive it.
I know, but to me, they should at least try to keep it canonical. Yeah,
because like the thing is like Adam is saying, it's like you just saw in Rogue One, he was just force balling people into a ball, like throwing people up in the ceiling, and then like as soon as you get to the
New Hope, if it was like a more established brand, they had stuff like that. That's what they would have done. So I'll give that.
And then in New Hope, he's just like walking like a robot, like.
See, I would also argue that they shouldn't have done that anyway, because what made the movie so beautiful to begin with and why so many people love it for the way it was because of the way it was. It wasn't over the top and it was more grounded and realistic, and as much as I don't like those type of takes, as everybody here fucking knows, you know, when it comes to that, I can give it a pass because it is a fictional world. It's completely made up from a guy's mind.
Characters that aren't going, I need to be evil. Like they're not just like screaming incessantly and just like, oh, I'm evil and I'm going to show you that I'm evil. No, they're just evil. Like, they just blew up a planet. Like,
actions speak louder than words. And in New Hope, you barely hear Darth Vader speak, if ever. And it's usually just to threaten someone or crush someone's windpipe.
Yeah. Or like some of your favorite scenes is like where like old boy's like talking noise to Darth Vader. He said like, "What did you say?" Like, hold on, like he says he was basically saying that all his powers are myths and everything. And I'm like, oh, okay, you want to test me? You one of them type of people? Okay, how do you feel right now?
Like he walks around the chair so nonchalantly. He doesn't go, "Oh, I'm gonna choke you now." He just goes, "Okay." Like he does it with such like grace. He's like, "Say something, mofo, say something."
And little did George Lucas know that he'd be starting a trend for the future generations.
Yes. Yeah.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. What I would also give to go back to 1977 when this opened up in cinema. At the time, this was incredible. Like
it was groundbreaking.
It was a masterpiece.
Stuff like spaceship. Like, imagine being a little kid in 1977. And the movie opens, pans down, you see the planet, then the ships, and you're just like, oh my fucking god, like, whoa, you know, whoa. And even on the newer editions of A New Hope, no matter how much they try and update its effects, if they've got something that's flying in, like imagine this PlayStation controller, this is flying in, you'll still see a square around it, just faintly, of where like the effects used to hover it in, kind of thing. You'll still see the square just around it.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's kind of unique, I guess.
Yeah. But this just proved that George Lucas had like a lot of creativity or whatever. And my thoughts on the whole entire New Hope. Out of all 6 of the movies, because I'm only doing 6 and a little bit of Rogue One, however, like
I'm sorry, I thought there was only 6.
Yeah,
well, exactly. In the official timeline, 7, 8, and 9. I can watch them and I like them, but they're more extended lore, if you will. I don't count them as core saga. Like the best way for me to watch them
Disney saga.
As extended lore, you know.
I know I might get flack for this, but
go for it. Do it.
I think New Hope is like the most boringest one out of all of them, dude. Like I can't get through it, bro.
And I respectfully disagree. I don't think it's Attack of the Clones at all. I think
it's like I can hear the OT fanboys with the messed up hairline right now. How dare he? How dare he? All right, dude, calm down. Go outside. You know, you got children now. No, you got great grandkids now. You got great grandkids now, dude. Why are you coming at me, dude? I'm like, come on, man. It's just my opinion. Relax.
Chill the hell it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like remember
you guys do, but if we're just looking at it from like what has the most epic moments and stuff, this movie is more of its own kind of tale, you know, in the sense, like in the saga overall.
Yeah.
You know, I think when you look at other movies in the franchise, if someone's like, oh, you need to include the Disney one because it's canon. All right, I'll even include the sequel trilogy. 7, 8, and 9 are way more exciting than this. Like, I love A New Hope, but just from a standpoint of like.
I know.
You know, like in terms, it doesn't mean they're better, but I'm not Christ. I'm not on.
I get you. I get what you're saying. Like action wise, it moves.
Action wise, it's more fast paced, but does it make it better if it's crappy combat? I don't know.
In terms of just sci-fi epic, if you will, but in terms of they don't touch this movie. I'm just gonna just for context.
To be fair, like the only big thing I think about. The only big thing I can think about in this movie is the destruction of the Death Star and Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader. Other than that, the rest of it is a very beat-to-beat hero's journey. So it makes sense.
Adam, like, and you'll agree with this, Jacob. I don't know if you ever like watched the Clerks movies, but they make fun of this whole entire like.
I can't say I have. No,
it's Kevin Smith movies. Jacob, get on it right now, or I'll have to come down there and I will legitimately put it on your watch list for you.
This is Kevin Smith before he lost his mind.
It's on my watch list. I'll put it on the list.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
Clerks,
this is
man. I
Kevin
love.
Smith before he lost his mind, bro. This is Kevin Smith before he lost his mind when he was like actually still funny, dude. But
He's
like
really funny.
they make fun of.
Have you guys seen that image where it's like, has the most dangerous weapon in the galaxy, points it at his eye? Like there's a picture of
Yep.
Luke looking at the saber like that, and it's just like if you accidentally turn that on, you're
Yep.
dead.
Yeah, because that was a behind the scene thing that Mark Hamill commented on as well. It was quite funny. Anyways, like, yeah, obviously I was just looking at it, and obviously somebody took a photo. But if you actually look at it, it's like it looks like I'm stabbing myself in the eye.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of everything else. I mean, like, of course, the characters were cool. Luke. Hero's journey. I mean, Darth Vader. He was
Definitely
like
the one Star Wars movie where every character serves a purpose. Like every
Yeah.
character serves a purpose. There's a reason why they're there, a specific reason.
because I know like from what I heard, like half the budget went to like James Earl Jones's voice because like he was like
Oh,
the
God.
only
Have you guys
star
heard
on.
Vader's actual voice? It's hilarious.
Oh, dude,
Oh,
I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
funny.
but a British person can never play Darth Vader. It doesn't sound right.
And I feel so bad for the guy that's in the suit or whatever because he's like always he's like never still allegedly he still has never forgiven George Lucas because like he's mad at Hayden for like taking his like face and putting it on his and stuff like that. And I'm like, I can see why he's salty, man. Like the original Darth Vader, the guy that would play Darth Vader.
Yeah, his name was like Sebastian or something, wasn't it? Like
Sebastian something. Yeah.
But then I think didn't Mark Hamill say that the guy in the suit lied about being a stunt guy, so they had to get someone else in to start doing the sword choreography for Vader?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a whole thing.
Yeah, see, this is the thing. Also, when it comes to
shout
like
out to Peter Cushing and Alec Guinness, two like of the greatest actors of all time in this movie, and they got us Christopher Lee for Count Dooku in the prequels. So.
Yeah, but one of the things as well is that as much as obviously people hated the whole, why is it a young Anakin? It makes no sense anymore. I actually prefer it being the young Anakin than that.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
When he first took off the helmet as well, before they added, this is how bad the special features had to be. They had to digitally remove his eyebrows because of that fucking bushy. Imagine that. Imagine having to go back and fix your movie because of bushy eyebrows.
And I get it. I can see why he's mad at George Lucas and mad at the Star Wars franchise. I get it, bro. Like, but come on, man. Like,
a story perspective.
Yeah.
Well, if the prequels were made first, that's what they would.
Yeah.
That's what would have happened. And
that's what would have happened.
Just a big landscape view. I know people say, "Oh, well, Star Wars was the first movie. If George really wanted to make the prequels, he would have." No, he couldn't. Logistically, he couldn't.
He couldn't do it.
Times.
He also
the story he wanted to tell. There was no technological advancements to do it. And while watching the prequels, did they go a bit overboard sometimes? Yeah, but you can tell why he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Also,
but as soon as he got that technology, we got the prequels. So
ironically, the people that gave us that technology was George Lucas himself, because no cunt else would do it.
Yeah.
But second of all, on top of that,
how you go from like great, like you basically go from an iPhone in the prequels to a Nokia in the original trilogy. It's weird. Like it's a weird transition, and then you go from like 2000 to 70s. It's strange, but you gotta get that pass, I guess.
Also, on top of that, like George Lucas said multiple times, the reason why he started near the end of his story was because he didn't think he would be able to get another story movie after it, straight after it. He thought it might have just been a one-off movie, so he done it more near the end of the story. That's why
he even said like when it was opening night, he was like nervous. Like he said that he was sweating so badly in his seat, like because like as soon as the movie was done and like he just heard a clapping ovation and everything, that's when he said like, "Woo-hoo-hoo, yes, like let's go."
See, that's the thing as well, is because another thing that is not very known is that so many studios turned down George Lucas's idea for so long. He thought it wasn't going to get made, and by the time it finally did get made, everybody was saying it was going to be the worst pile of garbage that they'd ever seen, and everybody hated George Lucas. And ironically, that seemed to be a running theme in George Lucas's life, prequels.
Yeah.
Like, you don't understand Star Wars, George, the guy who literally created it.
Yeah.
And then now we have Disney Star Wars, where we have
I will take
Boba Fett
Jar
will be in
Jar
Boba
Binks
Fett.
going, Misa and stepping in poo
Yeah.
all day, every day over the dog water that we
And
got.
then, and another thing, this is not to bash OT fans, but this is your fault, by the
It is
way.
your
Like,
fault.
I just want to
It is.
let you know.
How many people, right, as a prequel kid, right, growing up and
Mhm.
loving the prequels like I did, there was a time I detested the prequels because the internet told me to. I felt like an alien for liking them. I didn't realize how many people actually hated the prequels, how many people bashed Hayden Christensen, the people that caused Ahmed Best to nearly, like, I didn't realize how bad it was until I got on the
Yeah.
internet and saw it. And I'm like, what? Am I like a bad fan for liking the prequels? To be in the
Yeah.
position now where the prequels are the ones that are saving the brand.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, the prequel
It's
material in
us.
era
It's our
is killing the
generation.
brand. Without it, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, we love you, Hayden, woo!" And I'm like, I'm looking at the crowd, and it's all the people that literally 10 years ago were like, "Nah, they ruined my childhood." George Lucas, our childhood.
Hey! This is a very similar. Hey, Jacob, this is also a very similar situation to Jason Todd.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one, but also I'll give you that.
I had to get in there.
Yeah, man. I'm just like, cause like the prequels. Okay, were they great? No. Were they? But they were fun.
I mean,
Hey, we even make memes. Okay,
They had a
we
proper
make
story,
memes.
at
I
least.
will never deny the prequels have their issues. They do. Like, I
Yeah.
know I'm so in love with you. Like, no one, Leonardo DiCaprio, everyone's like talking about, oh, Leonardo DiCaprio would have saved the prequels. Not even he could have made that line not be cringeworthy.
Yeah.
Hayden did fine. Like,
Hayden
Yeah.
actually was the perfect
hate this
actor for
slander.
Anakin, because that's the way he was supposed to be.
Was he a bit wooden in
Yeah.
Attack of the Clones? Like, justifications aside that he was doing what George told him to do and whatever, was he a bit wooden in Attack of the Clones? Yeah, sure. But in
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith, he steps it up like 20 notches. And it's like, we're talking about the same brand that has Han Solo, where Harrison Ford, every movie looks like he showed up to just cash a paycheck. You've got
Yeah.
Mark Hamill, that was still relatively new at the time. You've got Alec
Yeah.
Guinness at the point where he's done it so many films and so whatever. Like he was really a well-established actor with Bridge on the River Kwai.
He didn't even want to do Star Wars. He just sort of done it anyway.
Yeah.
want to do it.
Same thing with James Earl Jones. He says like, "Star what? All right, man. Y'all guys gonna have to pay me half the budget."
Also, one of the things that I always bring up, especially the prequels, right? One, George Lucas told Hayden to try have that sort of similar dialect, right? He asked a white man to match a black man's voice. That is not fucking physically possible.
It's like
Come
me
on,
trying
let's be
to
real.
match Danny's voice. It's not happening.
It's not happening. So I don't know why he done that, because he was like, "Oh, at certain times you need to add that inflection when you're angry," and that's why
Why
when you
did
actually
Anakin
watch back,
speak like this? Blah blah blah. Well, if you look at the reason, I'm not saying you have to like it. You can still hate it. For instance, we know the reason why Christian Bale speaks the way he does in the Dark Knight trilogy. Adam, are you a fan of that?
no,
Exactly. So you can not like it. That's fine. But just understanding context and putting in some nuance. Shout out to Stuart for giving me this. I love this hat. When you instill some context and nuance, you can kind of look at it and go, okay, he's speaking like that to try and match Vader. That was the intention. Let's not get all my knickers in a twist and start directing verbal barbs his way.
Yeah.
To a brand that, quite frankly, should be taken a lot more fun. Star Wars is never meant to be. Yeah, it has serious moments, but it's the Star Wars universe.
It's supposed to be fun.
Fairy tale, And this trilogy right here, even the prequels, it was told in a 3-act formula. When you get to the sequels, it's told in it's told. I'll just say that.
Also, as much as I know this is going to piss off all the OT fanboys, George Lucas came out and said it himself. As much as I know it will offend even maybe some of my brothers here, they're kids' movies. They were never made for you, you fat fuck. Shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm sick of this.
Ruined my childhood, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Like,
yeah, you ruined your childhood.
I have issues with the sequels, but come on, like, chill.
Yeah, George Lucas ruined your childhood. Now we've got Boba Fett going, ride it like a bantha. I think that's more ruined.
Like a bantha.
Yeah. It's like I can give you guys jobs. I'm like, ugh.
I just can't. I love how my camera went completely out of focus as well.
Yeah, but anyway, Danny, have you got any more thoughts on A New Hope?
Like I said, out of all the 6, I think this one's the most boringest one, but like it still holds up or whatever. Uh, I have no like negative towards it. It will always be a special place in my heart because like my dad introduced me to Star Wars and Indiana Jones,
Star Wars is
so
the
that's why I kind of have like a heart, like a good place. And then Kathleen Kennedy take it away from me. So, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah.
Both trilogies as well. Actually, 3 trilogies in total. But moving on. Yeah, no, for me, like wrapping this up, like A New Hope is still a great movie. Don't get me wrong, I'll always love it. But if we're being unbiased and unobjectifiable, it is a very boring movie in today's world because yes, nowadays, unless you have about 60 people getting RKO'd by John Wick, it's classed as a boring movie. So
I will say that a testament to this movie. I'm glad that you brought that up, just to defend it just a little bit.
Mhm.
Because I don't want to get the impression that we're ragging on it. This
Yeah.
movie's still magical. It's still special. It's still got all the minerals that it first had in 1977. It's just where we're at with film and everything now. Things have changed a little bit in that sense, but the movie's impact, it's never going away. The type of movie and where it and what you said there about it being a generational thing, that's what Star Wars is. It's a legacy thing that you pass down to your children and your children's children.
Yeah.
And then some of them grow up and then cause problems because it doesn't have an X-wing. I'm never letting that go. I hate that argument. It's so nonsensical. But I
also,
will say
didn't the sequels have an X-wing and they were shit? So what's that all about?
Yeah, the trench run is one of my favorite scenes in all of Star Wars, and that's from this movie. Just because the soundtrack by John Williams is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Vader in hot pursuit, gunning down every single person until he gets to Luke, and then use the Force, Luke, and that shot of the stars. It's beautiful, and then Vader goes flying away. Han's like shoot him, beautiful.
On that note, my favorite scene is like when Luke is just looking into the sunset, like and you just hear John Williams music goes it like that part. I just turn it on full surround sound, man. I turn it full surround sound, man. It's like
you know what my favorite scene is, right? We've had beautiful, we've had a nice romantic scenery. My favorite scene is when Luke sees his uncle and auntie die and just sit there like, oh, okay, kill him, goes away.
Oh yeah, for all the stock that Hayden, and I love Mark Hamill, but for all the stock that Hayden was given for being wooden or whatever, it's like your aunt and uncle are burned to a crisp, and you're just like,
and then walks away.
Huh?
Just walks away.
Wow,
that's one of my favorite scenes because it was so unintentionally funny. When you rewatch it, you're like, why is he like not caring? Like, even Anakin's like, no, and it's a bit cringy and it's not really good.
Even Kylo Ren is like, no.
But
I killed the women and I killed the children.
That scene shows, I'm not gonna lie to you.
But Luke is like, oh, they look a bit barbecued. All right, cool. Let's just go with Obi-Wan now. Like, you don't even know the guy.
I want to go with you now. It's like he said that so effortlessly. Like, and also, have you guys
It just makes you wonder if he liked his mom, his stepmom and stepdad. Like, it's like, dang, his aunt and uncle. Like,
really that bad?
Yeah.
The scene with the binary sunset, like that scene speaks to anyone who yearns for adventure. The adventure beyond the horizon, like it just speaks to you. Luke kicks the sand, looks at the sun. It hits
that man. I think it's especially hits it if you're a man too. You're like, dang, bro, like it's something you just bam. It's like right there.
Yo.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. You guys know, I don't know if you both know this. I'm sure you guys do. It's probably common knowledge at this point. Like 50 million videos on YouTube. Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru were actually killed by Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Because in the next movie, he's like, no disintegrations. He points straight at him, and then in the special edition, Boba Fett is CGI'd into the shot at Tatooine and the spaceport. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense that Boba Fett was probably hired to. There's a whole thing of him like looking for Luke and whatever else, and he burns them alive. Yeah. And because of a certain TV show, that would make sense. Thank you, Kenobi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
But yeah, this movie will always have a special place in my heart. It always will. And I think, I would give anything again to go back and see that opening, 1977, just to experience what it'd be like in the crowd of people. Like, mind blown.
You won't have to worry about spoilers or anything like that. You go.
Apparently, this
they were
movie
the glory days. I'm not gonna lie. When
this
there was
movie
no
was
spoilers.
so loved, people went back more than 4 times.
Yeah, like that's another thing that like there was
when
movies
movies were
like I can't
appreciated.
remember exactly what movie it was, but there was a movie that came out when my uncle was growing up, and people were going to buy a ticket not to watch the movie, but to watch the trailer of that said movie, then leave afterwards. Like that's how much movies used to mean. We didn't have some little
They used to
neckbeard.
be well made, well cared for. You cared about the movies, and it was an experience. It was an event.
And no post-credit scenes. Just find your movie.
Yeah.
I know about 60 million timelines as well. I better throw that into.
There's a great post-credit scene at the end of Phantom Menace. Have you guys seen it? So basically, at the end of the credits, it has Anakin's theme tune, which John Williams has used as a slower version of Vader's theme. But Anakin's theme tune slowly transitions into Vader's theme, and you hear Vader breathing at the end of it. I never knew that until I got older. I let the DVD play, and then I'm watching Phantom Menace, and I'm hearing Darth Vader breathing. I'm like, oh, you slight, you, and then even hearing Palpatine's theme at the end of Phantom Menace, the victory celebration, like that was haunting. I freaking adored that. Yeah. It was really good.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, as much as obviously, like, we're being a bit more hypercritical of the original trilogy now, and there will be fanboys, and yes, we did call you out on that stuff. We still love it with a burning passion. Like, I still love the OT trilogy, and I still love the prequel trilogy. I don't know what the hell the sequel trilogy was meant to be. I don't want to know, and I don't know what most of those shows were either. But that's the thing. We can sit here all day and debate about it, but I think it's time to be wrapping it up. But wait a minute. We always do a post-credit. So, following this episode, we shall be traveling to a Dagobah system.
So, are you telling me that they're rebuilding the Death Star as we speak? And we like Han Solo might be.
I got a plot twist for you. I got a plot twist for you that's even better. Danny, he told me enough. He told me you killed him. Say it.
No, I am your father.
No!
Wait a minute. That means all 3 versions of the Skywalker children had a no scene.
I will say this: they did well to keep that secret hidden.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's still the best reveal in the whole of cinema.
To be fair, that's because also George Lucas wasn't sure if he was going to do it or not.
Well, yeah, it's one of them things that it's the best reveal in the whole of cinema, and no one has ever been able to replicate it. And I stand by this. I'm going to rant about this next time. This is my little setup. Not every movie needs to have an "I am your father" moment. It's an anomaly.
Thank you.
You can't pull it off all the time.
When I first told this man, I always said, like, Jacob, the number one thing about movies is everybody's trying to copy off of the Empire Strikes Back of Luke, I am your father. Sometimes you just need to go straight to the story, bruh. But yeah.
Also,
it's an anomaly. It shouldn't happen, but it did.
Yeah, exactly. Also, when it comes to Star Wars in a whole, it will never be replicated because it's like most franchises. When they first came out, they were a marvel of their time, pun intended. But now, they've all became like Marvel, pun intended.
Yeah, they've become a caricature of themselves.
Yeah, so
they're
never going to be replicated. And per what we were saying at the start of this to OT fans about X-Wings and stuff, the reason you're at fault, OT fans, is because you wanted your childhood recaptured to a T. Is it nice to see your childhood told a bit more? For sure. But come on. Like,
have a bit of nuance instead of throwing out a dummy like a child would just because he didn't get his favorite
outside cinemas and playing guitars about how George Lucas can't say the word your childhood. Like, no.
Yeah. Also, the fact that George Lucas left because of all the hate you gave him for it, and he just couldn't be bothered with it. So he physically sold it so he could go and be with his kids because he realized that he would rather go spend time with his kids and actually be there for them instead of taking all your guys' garbage. And also the stuff that you done to Jake as well, the original Anakin. this fact that
before
you made all the like you made everybody's in the lives in the prequel so miserable, other than Ewan McGregor, just because he'd done a good accent.
Yeah.
bruh, before we wrap this up, before we wrap this up,
you got Samuel L. Jackson, you got Natalie
Yeah.
Portman, pedigree, and you're still like,
before we wrap this up or whatever, like just on that, like when you saw George Lucas and Bob Iger at that table, like you saw George Lucas kind of hesitate for even signing that pen. You can look in his eye of like, I really don't want to do this. Like something in my gut is telling me that this is bad.
And everyone says that, oh, George just did it because, oh, he wanted money. No, George did it to preserve the brand, because there were people that were still under contract and working for him that needed to be paid. And he didn't want to put thousands of people out of work. That's what would have happened. There were so many people employed at the time. He would have put so many people out of work. And he wanted to tell, he did want to tell 7, 8, and 9. He did. But the fans drove him to the point of, fuck it, I don't want to do it.
And we could have got a whole better sequel trilogy.
Like 1 to 6 is Anakin's story, but he did want to do 7, 8, and 9 focusing on Luke, Han, and Leia. You can find the story treatments and everything, and some of them are a bit left field, but I would have preferred that over what we arrived with.
Yes, exactly.
Because at least then you can look at it, and even if you hate it and you don't like it, you can go, you know what? It's from George at least. It's from the man himself. Even if you don't like it. It's from the guy who created it.
So that's all, folks. I have been Ken and Wolf. That has been MMA King Chris Jr. And with a special thanks to the chosen one, link down in the description to his channel. So get your ass over there or be square.
Everyone smash that like button, subscribe to this channel here with these two lovely geezers, and thank you for having me. It's really
not a problem. And make sure if you like what you see on here, make sure you do go to Jacob's channel, because every Sunday or nearly every Sunday we do a live Kings of Pop Culture, and we talk about all things nerd culture, be it your dad, be it your mom, be it your sister. Oh, sorry, that was the wrong list. Sorry. Anyway, moving on. We shall see you in the next video.